Hello everyone, welcome to another video. Today I'm going to reorganize my bookshelves and I thought, let me just take you through the process. So I know a few months ago I also reorganized my bookshelf and I made a very more like aesthetic video. This video is going to be a bit more chill. I don't really have a plan yet. I just know that I need to organize it in a different way. Normally my desk is here where I'm standing. It's like my little desk space. I have like my pencil cases here, stuff like that. And then here I have art supplies just standing there. And then I use the top part for my books, but it's very top heavy, if you know what I mean. Like all the books are here and then this kind of it's getting a bit full, you know, because I keep buying books. So I want to disperse it a little bit and see if I can put my books on other places as well. I don't know yet. I have no plan, like I said. We're just gonna do something. We'll see what's gonna happen. Things on my bookshelf that just make sense. A little fruit bowl full of tangerines. So without further ado, I think the first thing I'm just gonna do is just take everything out and then see what the plan is. My favorite thing on my shelf is my mug, my Groot mug, full of bookmarks. So cute. Okay, so I want to do something different that's not the rainbow shelves, because here are some reasons rainbow shelves are great. It's very pleasing to the eye. Aesthetics. It looks pretty. It looks pretty. That's the only pro of having rainbow shelves, but the cons are you have to separate series and you don't really get a good overview of all the types of books that you read. Probably sounds really weird, but I like taking one look at my own shelves or someone else's shelves and immediately get a look at the type of books that they read, like the kind of genres that I see, and that mostly works if you put the same kind of books together. And if they're just all jumbled, like every genre is just a big mess right now, you don't really see that. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense, but that's my theory on this. So here are 3 other ways that I could potentially organize this shelf. The first one is by author name. That's boring and basic and I'm not gonna do that. The second one is by height, which I actually do at my parents' house in my childhood bedroom, which looks really aesthetic, and you can put series together because they're usually the same height. It could start looking a little too clean. And then the other option is by genre. Before I organized it to rainbow, it was on genre, and there was a reason that I stopped putting it on genre, because it didn't really work for the space that I had. But I now have more books, so maybe I can organize it in kind of a different way and then it does work. I don't know. I'm just gonna try some things. But first let me just take a look at where I can actually make space to put more books. I have this TBR shelf. Oh, I'm standing right in front of it. TBR shelf, as you can see, kind of a lot of space. Then right here, let me zoom you in. Okay, zoom. Here I have a bunch of like random books. These are like cookbooks and picture books, diaries and things like that, notebooks. And I rarely ever reach for them. So my idea was to just take them out here and put them on like the bottom shelf that you never see because my desk is in front of it. And then I would have more space here where I can maybe put my TBR shelf, or I can put my favorite books on here. Who knows? The possibilities are endless. Let's just take every book out right now and then we'll see. Here I try to already organize them just in piles of genres. I think that's a good idea, because then I can immediately get a sense of bless me. I can immediately get a sense of how many I have of each genre and if it would work on the show. Yeah, okay, that's what I'm gonna do. Do you guys count classics as like its own separate little genre? For example, Brave New World, I used to just have a little space on my shelf with classics, but you could also count this as a science fiction book. I usually put all my classics next to each other because that looks cool. Just gonna admit that. Also, do you guys separate like YA from adults? I need to find a system. Currently I'm just making a stack of adult fantasy and YA fantasy, and I'll just see where that goes. Oh, there's so many books on here that I also rarely ever talk on my channel, like these two. These are like non-fiction books about Japan, and they're really cool. About finding meaning in your life. This is the first book I ever annotated. It's The Kiss of Deception, because it has such like a big plot twist at the end, I went back to find moments where there were clues and I put little tabs in it, and it's the only time I ever tabbed a book until now. Now I actually tab a lot of my books. The only contemporary on my bookshelf until a little while ago, because I recently also have Get Life Clothing Round. The 2 contemporaries on my shelf. I love putting books from the same edition next to each other because it always looks really good. So that's another reason I don't want to separate by author, because I want to be able to put all the Penguin modern classics next to each other. I'm actually excited to see which stack, you can't see it, but like right here are 2 stacks. I'm excited to see if the adult fantasy stack or the YA fantasy stack is going to be bigger. I always thought it would definitely be the YA fantasy stack, but so far they're even. Maybe it's because adult fantasy books are thick boys. I'm still so happy with this edition that I have of Alice in Wonderland, because I got this when I was in London. I think the first time I ever went to London, I went to the Waterstones in Piccadilly Circus, which is huge. And there I got this anniversary edition of Alice in Wonderland. It's really pretty. So you guys may remember that a few weeks ago, the Times Best Fantasy of All Time came out, and I was so surprised but excited to see that Angel Fall, I'm leaning on the stack of books, Angel Fall was on that list. Very, very original long-time viewers of the channel will know that Angel Fall was my favorite book for the longest time. I thought it was more like post-apocalyptic. I'm putting it on the science fiction dystopian pile and not on the fantasy pile, but it does involve angels, so I understand that they put it under fantasy. And I was so excited that they decided that it was like one of the best fantasy books of all time. That just made like little 16-year-old me very happy. This was like the best dystopian book that I read, aside from, no, I think I enjoyed this one even more than The Hunger Games. Yes, I really did. It's so good. Ooh. Okay, the non-fiction pile is also getting really big. And for example, my classics pile's kind of tiny, but that's just because all the classics I read are like very short. Oh my gosh! The non-fiction pile is the biggest right now. Okay, I did not expect that. Ooh, yeah, it's coming into frame. This is the YA fantasy pile. Very empty, except for this cute little plant. Like, I want to put more plants on my shelf, but the thing is, if you put a plant on the shelf, it immediately doesn't really get as much sunlight, so then they'll just die. Like, I can only do this one because it grows out so big, and there's a window right there. Anyway, if you have tips for how to put plants in your bookshelves, let me know. First thing I'm gonna do is just get these notebooks and picture books out of the way and put them on the shelf below. They have moved down here. You can't see this on camera, but there's dust. So I gotta dust them. I don't know what it is about freaking bookshelves, but you dust them and in 2 days, there's just more dust there. I hate it. And let's take a look at these stacks. I have 2 contemporaries, 2 horror thrillers. This is my stack of classic literature. This mighty boy, that's YA fantasy. This is adult fantasy. Here we have a stack of science fiction dystopian, and it just happens to all be YA. And then this big boy is non-fiction. I'm gonna count them because of course this is mostly based on how big the books are. I'm gonna count them. So 12 adult fantasy and 17 YA fantasy, but 21 non-fiction books. Okay, cool. I didn't expect that. How am I gonna organize this? The thing is, if I were to give each genre its own shelf, I would need 5 shelves, and I don't have 5 shelves. That's kind of a problem. How did I fit all these books on 4 shelves? How the hell did that happen? Maybe I can just put, no, that's not good. Okay, I think I'm just gonna start by putting my TBR here. Ooh, wow. Oh my god, it fits perfect. I love that. That's great. Aw, change. Love it. Okay, maybe what I can do is put a little space here for my favorite books. Oh, I can't wait to finally put series back together. Oh, it's gonna be so good. Oh, I just realized now this is actually thriller. That gives 3 thriller books. How nice. I'm not organizing them yet, okay? That's gonna go on later. Let's just go. Let's just go. Adult. Ah! Fuck! Ah! I'm just gonna put the adult fantasy on this one so it can stand next to the YA fantasy. Finally, I can put the 5th season together. And now I can finally put them together and it's gonna look so pretty. Yes! Yes! I don't know. What should I do? What should I do? What should I do? I'm just gonna see how much of the science fiction pile I can put on there. Oh my god! It fits! Yes! I can put all my thrillers here. And my contemporaries. Oh my god, I really underestimated the power of having series together. This is beautiful. Love it. I love it. And then I'm gonna put my non-fiction here. And then here, we're gonna put the classics. Oh my god. They're almost all the same height. Oh, that's wonderful. Wonderful. Oh, I really don't have as many classics as I... Look at that, that looks kind of sad. This is very full, because I have a lot of fantasy books. This is kind of sparse. What can we do? I think I'm gonna make a little shelf of my favorite books here. Never thought of that. It's because like the Harry Potter box set is technically my TBR because I haven't read it yet, but I know that I'm not gonna read it anytime soon, so it was always here on my TBR shelf, but I think it's better if I just put it there. But now it's very... Oh, now it's so full here. Ugh, I hate this. Why is this so difficult? I think it's done. Let me give you a little up close look. Okay, so down here we have my little TBR shelf. I really like that it has limited space. Hopefully that will tell me that I should not buy more books for all my TBR. Here I have my kind of my favorite shelf. I did it a bit loosely because my favorite books are mostly just Six of Crows, Uprooted, and Vicious, but then I put on there also the Angelfall trilogy because that's like an old favorite, Ninth House and the Gilded Wolves because I think they're gonna be like favorites, and then the Grisha trilogy is not necessarily a favorite, but it's just very special to me, so they're all here. YA fantasy, mystery, and contemporary, lots of room to grow. On this shelf we have adult fantasy, and right behind this plant, science fiction. And then up here we have my classics. And that was the bookshelf reorganization. I'm really happy with this It may not look as pretty, but there's just a lot more space. And it just makes me really happy to just instantly be able to look at like, oh, look at all these beautiful fantasy books that I love so dearly. Oh, look at all the shelf of knowledge that I have. Oh, it just feels so good to reorganize our bookshelves. I don't know why, but I'm just like, yeah, change. I did things differently. I really hope you enjoyed this kind of more chill, chatty bookshelf reorganization. I'm gonna stare at this for the next few hours, and I will see you soon in another video. Also, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, of course, and subscribe if you want to. Goodbye!